Hello, I'm Dr. Deb Howell with Dose of Deborah Rehab for the Heart. And today my guests are two beautiful, fabulous human beings that honestly, I'm biased. Okay, I love you. They are relationship coaches for married entrepreneurs. They are also in the healthcare field with physical therapy and nursing. And they are parents of children who need love in their life and stability in a home. And these two are that home and space that they bring a wealth of information through their life experience, through their teamwork and their love for each other. And they give it to these beautiful children, and they want to give it to you, couples who are married and are looking to do your own thing and to be a couple, right? And to expand what you have in this world. So welcome, JoJo, Cory. How are you?
We're doing great. We're doing great.
Well, just to build off of that, we are the owners and founders of Our Family Strong. When she says we are parents of children that need love, we've been foster parents for 8 years, and we've adopted 5 children, and we love all of them so much, and we're so blessed that they've been in our home and the lessons that they have taught us. They've been the one that has loved us the most, and so that is a blessing that I'll never forget.
You
So
better not forget.
more than 5, right? You've had.
Yeah, we've had.
We have 5, but we've been foster to 30 children have come in our home.
Yep.
You know, oh man. And you know what I can tell you straight off right now is that from what I know of the two of you, is that those children's lives have absolutely been touched by just pure heart, you know? I mean, just pure heart. And wherever that goes, you know, to bless them for having been with you. And I sincerely mean that, you know, and I cannot imagine what it takes to bring children into the home and love them up, and then that transition is it's its own thing, and I honestly, it lends to your understanding of relationships, right? As adults, as a husband and wife, as parents, and now entrepreneurs, right? To want to support couples in this dynamic, which is in itself most challenging.
Yeah.
Right? So I just feel like that experience that you have is so extraordinary, and it brings its own edge, and in a really unique way. So I'm really happy to have you here to kind of talk about what you're doing, because you're just too super duper, like, you know, just awesomeness in my presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know.
You.
Well, in that introduction, thanks, Deborah. But this experience, journey through foster care, has taught us how to love at a deeper level that most people have never loved or don't understand. And I say that humbly, not to brag or put ourselves above, but the experience of loving at a level that is unconditional, that children that may not have experienced love, they don't know how to respond when they have that love. It's just taught us how to love at a deeper level than most people would ever understand. When becoming a parent, a first-time parent, the love is so deep, and it's so unexplainable how deep and amazing that love is. But to have the experience that we've had, we have understood a new level of love. Then I just grateful for that experience every single day.
Well, and I think if it's okay, Deb, do you mind if I share a little bit of our story? Is that okay?
Sure.
So Cory and I started our family strong for lots of different reasons. Um, my major, I'm going to be starting grad school, and it was social work. And so we had become foster parents 8 years ago, almost a decade. And we've had lots of kids in and out of our home. And that's one thing, like what you had said, there's lots of children out there that need love and that need a home. And it's not easy being a foster parent in any way. I mean, we've had kids for over a year that had to go home. Not had to. They went home to good
They got to
situation. They
because
got
their
to.
parents
Yeah.
worked the case plan, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And in some good situations, some not so good at situations. But ultimately, we've seen a lot of hit on the family. And then the Vegas shooting happened, and that really disrupted us a lot because it impacted us personally. And so we actually, that night after the shooting, we got a very strong impression that that our mission in life was to help families. And at first we thought, like, why in the world? Because we're already foster parents. I'm already trying to become a marriage and family therapist. Like, hello, that's what we're already doing. But then, we tried to ignore the feeling, and it never went away. And so that's why we started Our Family Strong. And that's why it's called Our Family Strong, the letter R, and then Family Strong, because that's our mission. That's our goal, is to help families, to strengthen families. And the way to strengthen families is from the top. If you're strengthening couples, it strengthens the entire family. And we understand, like, as entrepreneurs, it has not been a fun journey as far as entrepreneurship. But as far as a couple, like, we've grown, which lots of couples, the people that we help, usually they're really struggling as entrepreneurs in business and in marriage, because there's not a balance. There's not that in between stage where they're happy in anything. Either they're really happy in the business and home life is just not very pleasant. And so that's what we try to help couples with, is to get back on the same page of communication, and to get back on the same page of balance, and to actually find joy in marriage and then boost their business. But just a little story, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Good.
We emphasize communication strongly because we've seen it work in our house. We've had obviously 30 kids in and out of our home, and we have 4 boys and 1 girl. We are pending adoption on 1 boy and 1 girl, their siblings. But we had 1 child that is ours that we adopted, and he was our hardest child we have ever had. Out of all 30 kids, he was tough. He came to us. We were his second foster home. He could talk, but he wouldn't talk. He cried constantly, and just, oh my goodness, we were in like constant turmoil. So our home, and we had 4 kids. So it's not like it was just us. It was the entire family was in turmoil. And we're not about to like put in a notice on a child, how horrible that sounds, but they call it tending. We aren't about to do that. We'll make it work, and we'll fall in love with them. And, and we truly did fall in love with him, and we absolutely love him.
Funny,
But yeah.
It's really hard for me to say this, but the reason he was difficult is because he didn't know how to receive love. He was such a shell of the self that he is now. Now he's happy, he's a hoot, but he just didn't know how to receive love. The experience he's had through the first 16 months of his life, where he had to do things on his own. He was isolated. He didn't have the resources to receive love. He was alone.
The foster family that he came from was amazing. She was wonderful, but he was an only child in there, and he didn't know how to become someone else at his age, or not be someone else, but be himself at his age. And like what Cory said, I mean, he was stuck in his shell, but he cried constantly. It was really like ripping everybody in the family apart. And so Cory and I had to sit down and talk about, like, how are we going to get our structure back? Because again, we've had 30 kids. Like, turmoil is what our family's all about. We understand like how to get in and out of the groove. we're entrepreneurs. Like, hello, that's what everybody's good at as entrepreneurs, is getting in and out of that groove and like adjusting. But oh my goodness, we were ripping our hair out. And so the communication factor, we had to really put our A game on. And so that's something that we teach couples, is how to actually communicate your needs, their needs, your children's needs, how to actually communicate these things, because we've seen how turmoil can destroy families in our own and outside of our family. But just tweaking your communication, tweaking your boundaries, your balance has changed so much for us, and then for couples that we help all the time. It really can structure them and help them.
JoJo said that we had to bring our A game for communication. And I just want you to know, as a listener, it wasn't always an A game. It was more like a D or C game, because it was not very good. And we had to adapt very quickly. And I want you to understand, regardless of where you're at in your relationship, in your communication, whether you want to put a letter grade to it, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever grade you want to put, whatever, it's not always going to be good. There's going to be times where it's poor, where it needs a lot of work. There's going to be times where you can find a lot of strength because it is good. And so it wasn't always good. We did have to bring it A game because our family needed us. But it started out as a D or C grade game because it wasn't very good. And we were under stress and we had to deal with it. And so we communicated. We're like, this is not going to break up our family. This is not going to do anything. We owe it to our family. We owe it to this child. And we owe it to our son to love him in a way that he can find out who he is.
And now he's amazing. It took that positive communication and that structure to get on the right page with him, with us. And now, I mean, he's still hard sometimes. Every child is. Like, there's not going to be an easy child. They don't exist, I don't think. We've had 30 of them. I'm pretty sure they don't exist. But they are amazing in their own way, and they can be easy in their own way. And so, yeah, thanks for sharing that, Cory.
Yeah, and what I hear on the foundation is commitment, okay?
Absolutely.
Because the commitment from when you first come together as a couple, right? That beginning is the foundation for everything else that comes after. And you're absolutely correct, because the dynamics of marriage is one thing, the dynamics of parenting
totally different
with each parent to a child, right? Like the individual mom to the child, dad to the child is its own thing, then mom and dad to the child, because kids are super great at manipulation.
Yes, they are.
Okay,
Yes, they are.
They got your number real fast. And
yes, they are.
So that working thing that you guys have been able to develop through time-tested strategies, hit and miss, virtually like pull your hair out, like surrender.
Absolutely.
But boundaries, I hear boundaries, I hear the balance and the communication in making room. And that little fella who was in his own skin didn't know what was going on, right? And yet he's in a world, and his world changes, and so finding stability and you said it right there, Cory, he didn't know how to receive love. So I think these are some life tools that even as we go through life as parents, that some people don't recognize and don't acknowledge to the degree at how it plays into how we speak to each other.
Yeah. Right.
And how lasting that is, because the ripple effect, right? That goes beyond. Yep. So this, what you're looking to do right now with couples is to foster couples.
Basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. It just came to me. You are But let me tell you what weaves in here. What weaves this is love. Like you
Yeah.
too ooze. It just oozes through you the care and regard that you have, and you don't teach that. First of all, that's your own. That comes with your heart, and your two hearts have joined and made a commitment, and now you bring it in a much bigger way to serve a bigger audience, because it is entrepreneurs that's going to be future leaders, and especially if you have parents that are entrepreneurs that will teach their kids. So this has far rippling effects, what you two are certainly setting out and venturing into. And I think, man, I'm glad to know you.
Well, thank you, Deb. But when life gets hard, we forget the basic things.
Yeah.
So when we are looking at a relationship, whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife, whatever it is, the relationship starts off really good. There's a lot of positive. You're working to be selfless. You're really serving the other person. And when life gets hard, we forget that. We forget the things that made us fall in love. We forget the things that allowed a relationship to be really great at the beginning. And that is one thing I want to challenge each of you to do. Remember, in relationships, it's the small things, the service, the being selfless, looking out for your person, your spouse. The best thing that you can do in a relationship is think to yourself, what can I do to lighten the burden of my spouse today? If you can take that humble attitude, you'll find that joy. Whether it disappeared for a while, it will restore, or you'll keep it. And that's one thing that we start when we share and help entrepreneur couples re-fall in love, to gain that love once again. We just tell them, serve your spouse, serve selflessly, because selfless service breaks down barriers. And when we break down a barrier, whatever size it is, whatever the reason for that barrier, if we can think, how can I serve my spouse? It's not about me, but what can I do today to lighten their burden? I guarantee the arguments in your home will decrease, the fights will decrease, the peace will increase, the love will increase, your ability to find joy in your spouse will increase. You'll find joy in life at a higher level when you think of, what can I do to lighten burden of those that I love? It could be a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a coworker, it could be a stranger in the grocery store. Whoever it is, we all deserve love. We all need love. And we all need support when life is hard. So if you'll just take the approach, what can I do to lighten the burden of others? You will never go wrong.
That's beautiful, because and it's not to wait till something happens or wait till something's asked for. It is to sincerely and genuinely, and it's part of friendship too. I mean, to be the friendship, the longevity, right, of a relationship must have friendship, genuine,
Absolutely.
and friendship, and to look out for what would be pleasing, and just helping someone for the smallest thing, right? And it is the smallest, it's the little things that add up over time. Either way, right? The little
Absolutely.
annoyances, or
It's everything. And here's the thing, it's what you focus on. So if you're focused on every little thing that they do wrong, you're going to notice every little thing that they do wrong. It's just like with kids. If we notice every little thing that they do right, we're going to notice things that they do right. So it's the same with marriage. I mean, we'll often have couples come to us, and they'll be really struggling, and kind of nitpicking at every little thing. And sometimes it's like the sibling rivalry, like we're not married to our siblings, we're married to our spouse, but sometimes we act like we're siblings with our spouses, and they make us mad. So guess what we're going to do back to them? We're going to tick them off. But when we're able to serve, it kind of breaks that barrier down. It's simple, but it's hard at the same time.
Yeah, living life on purpose, being deliberate.
Yep.
It is. Honestly, there is, life has inherently built in things to challenge us to grow, and
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the initial commitment is that we commit to each other's growth, right? And in that commitment to growing, and for our children, because it's the same things. If you stifle your kids, if you, I mean, there's no such thing as perfect parenting, and there's no book that tells you everything, because each
Nope.
child writes their own book, right?
They sure do. They
Each
sure
one,
do.
man, you got 30 books right there. So
We actually have 5 now. One for each kid, I guess.
Well,
and but the information will come through the experience. But if you keep the centerpiece the same, which is love, right? That there's
Mhm.
nothing on the expectation. You don't do this because it's this expectation. If you do this, then you'll get that. There's certain, when it comes to love, the presence and the pureness of love is foundationally stable, right? That is, I love you no matter what. Like, that's it, right?
Yep.
And they feel safe. So having, in a marriage too, if anyone feels threatened, right?
Yep.
And children, if they feel threatened, and sometimes it works the other way too, which I just thought about right now. Um if if people feel like they have to be a certain way, right, and then they might feel they let you down, then they may not say anything.
Yep.
Right, and over time, if that only to show the good side, right,
Yep.
and not just all sides, can you speak to that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
well, you mentioned that unconditional love is a foundation. Jojo and I are Christian. We are believers. And so whether you're a believer or not, if you just look in the scriptures, Christ served with love. Everything he did was love, even when he was persecuted. And I think that's the same type of approach that we can take. We're going to get frustrated at each other. I'm not talking about persecuting your spouse, but what I'm talking about is we are different. We have different personalities. We have different likes, different strengths, and hopefully we can be compatible, that when I have a strength, it can bring up one of her weaknesses and we can meet together for a strong foundation. So when we use love as a base of foundation, I love you even when you made a poor choice to your children. I love you even though you hurt my feelings, whether it was intentional or not. You have the ability to move past that. When we when we get when our love foundation is a little bit crumbled or it's cracking, then we lose the ability to forgive. We hold on to things. Something that should be silly, leaving your socks on the floor, that can drive someone very crazy.
It drives me nuts. Corey does it still.
But that certainly shouldn't be something that leads to a fight. And it
Mhm.
very well could be if you didn't have that solid foundation. Well, yes, that sucks. It's not something I want to happen, but I'll get over it. So that is only able to happen when you have a foundation of love. I love you even though the dishes are not done. I love you even though, for JoJo, she's way better than me. So in her situation, she says that I love you even though you've got a lot of work to do. Whatever it is, when you have that love as the foundation, you can overcome a lot of things. And I want to share a quick story with you, not to brag, but I just want you to get an understanding of the heart that JoJo has.
Oh no.
We've been married for 12 years. When we first got married, we're driving down the freeway, and she says to me, "It's your turn." I said, "It's my turn for what?" She's like, "Didn't you see that accident over there?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of." She's like, "Pray for them. Make sure that they're having a good day." So her heart is one of service. A wreck, a crash is not something that someone wants to sign up for. That is not something that's going to make someone have a good day. But JoJo instantly, her heart ached for them. She wanted to pray that they'd have a good day. She wanted to pray that they would have the resources to take care of the situation. She'd want to pray that something good would come out of that trial. I don't know anybody that has so much love for people that they want to pray for strangers. And I was so clueless of the amount of love that she had. But it was such an amazing experience for the foundation of the love in our relationship, because I knew that I had to elevate myself to even stay on the same level as her, because her love was so deep and so intense for others. She didn't have to have time to worry about things that were hard for her. She was spending all of her time and energy loving, solving problems that just need a smile, that just need a hug, that just need someone to know that they are okay. And I think that is all I have to say about a foundation of love. It can
Ah,
solve the world. It can
wisdom.
also destroy it without it being present.
Oh my goodness.
You booger.
Yep.
Mm.
That's what you get because you're amazing.
You know, oh my goodness. Oh, that's so beautiful. And, you know, elevate, like elevating each other. When we can do things to elevate each other, and part of the ability to look to elevate is allowing ourselves to be also vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
That it won't, you know, sometimes if we feel insecure about something because and we feel less than because if someone appears to have more than what we have, and you know, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden it feels like we are less, and that's a perception, right? That's not accurate. And so the willingness to be seen, to be vulnerable, and to recognize that we, you know, we have this place in us that's it's sanctity, the sacredness of love, and holding this space for each other to be fallible, right? To be
Absolutely.
amazing, to right, to grow, to stretch, to explore, and you know, and that's what love does. Love, that whole saying, love is patient, love is kind. You know, when we have the roots in the love that is the pure love, not the love that is attached to pain, which is a lot of what people have experienced, right?
Absolutely.
Which puts up barriers and puts up all these things where we don't want to trust, because trust is right there, right? I'm hearing trust as well in the relationship, which goes with the vulnerability. I'm willing to keep my heart open and expose myself to you because you want the best for me, right? You want the best for each other. And as a couple, wanting to share your experiences, and they're just certain things that are foundational and rooted in truth, right? And those are not shakable. And it is for couples to make a choice, because it's a choice you two make, and it's a choice that other couples will make, to make the commitment for themselves and to make the commitment individually. You make the individual commitment to yourself, and then you make the commitment as a team, because there's a third, right? But what you're extending is an opportunity for people to grow, to come into community, that they have a network, because this does take a network. This is not being an entrepreneur all by itself.
It's horrible.
Without a couple.
It's lonely for sure.
It's lonely.
It's a lonely road.
It's hard.
It's tough. Exactly. And it requires consistency, and it requires community, and it requires diligence and perseverance and growth and stretching and all this stuff. So clearly, if you have couples that don't have that foundation and they're wanting to do this together, you know, you two are just such a true example of, you know, what it takes, and having the experience with with your foster children and and working through all these transitions, like change after change after change, and adapt and adjust and I mean, this is a dance.
It really is. It is.
You know, we're stepping on each other's toes at times, right? And ouch, that hurts. So, but you look what you both do it with a smile. You do it with a smile. You do it with an open heart, and you do it with just a sincere grace that you want to elevate everyone. Period. You know, and that's just it. Like, it's just pure, and it's genuine, and it's love at its just essence, you know, and it's beautiful.
Well, there's enough space in the world for everyone to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that we do is abundance. We try to endure things well when life is hard, which we've had tons of hard trials, especially through
Tons.
PT school and foster care. But we've used it to draw closer together. The standard in the world is to push each other apart. But that's when you need to be the rock for each other. The approach that we take through foster care or through relationship is try to find the good in any circumstance you're in. And so it is a choice. It is a very hard choice. But the thing that has allowed us to endure and love and enjoy foster care is we take the approach that forever, however long a child is in our home, at least they'll be loved for that period of time. Whether it's 18 hours, which truly happened, or a year plus, that also happened. For however long they are in the walls of our home, they will be loved. They will know and understand that they are valued. And I challenge each of you to take that same approach. Regardless of the circumstance you're in, it is temporary. It is hard, but find joy in enduring things and endure them well. When you endure things well or look for things that could straight be awful, if you look for something positive from it, I'll give you a little hint. The trial is much shorter. It doesn't seem to last forever.
It's so
What you focus on, you get more of. Like, if you focus on the negativity, you get what you're focusing on, right? Your energy goes in that direction. So,
and I think just going off of that too, like, sometimes it really is hard to just get out of that funk. I mean, we all kind of do. Like, being an entrepreneur has stretched me more than I think, because I didn't want to ever be an entrepreneur. I was fine with just going to school, becoming a marriage and family therapist, calling it good. But doing our coaching business, I mean, it's changed things for me. It's stretched me mentally more than I have ever thought, because I'm not a marketer. I'm in the relationship business. Like, I love, and I love to see families be complete. And so for me, it stretched me so much, because I'm like, I don't market. I don't know how to market. And so I think getting out of that rut, out of that like feeling like you're just in this negative mood, like Cory said, when you get out of it, is through service. And it's through, like what you said, Deb, focusing on what can be positive. I mean, no one is perfect, and there's no such thing as a perfect couple. Like, Cory and I are not perfect. Cory does leave his socks on the floor all the time. And we do have 5 kids, though. You know? So it's like, it's not always easy. But in the end, what is it worth? Is it worth your business, or is it worth your family? And for us, we choose our family, you know? And so that's why we focus so much on entrepreneur couples, because we've experienced the horribleness of being entrepreneurs and how hard it is. And like the being a family, you know?
What good is a strong, thriving business if it comes at the expense of your family?
Yeah.
It's not any good. Money doesn't make us happy. A thriving business to enjoy alone, that's garbage. That's not something that you should seek after. So a business that comes at the expense of your family is no good. But a business that thrives because your family is thriving, that is the side that you want to achieve.
And I think think just with Cory, I think it's important to know, like, you can have it all. You can have success and you can keep your marriage. You can, you know,
It's not a one or the other.
It's not
it's
a one
both.
or either. You can have it all.
Yeah, and it's the willingness for both parties, because it's certainly it's rigorous, and you use the word endure. You know, persevering that is absolutely, it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And so all the things that's required in the background, in the preparation and marketing. And I think the best part of marketing is to be yourself. Like the part of marketing that sells is sincerity and authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff out there that's just stuff, and it's fake, and it's people say something so they, you know, and what's the exchange, right? So I look at the things that work in life, because this is life is, it's the win-win, right? So when we exchange and everything is from a place of service, of love, it sets up for a win-win, right? It's not one or the other. It's not you versus me. It becomes we. So everyone is a winner, and then the exponential benefit goes beyond the immediate. It goes beyond the two, right? It's exponential. So there is those are just natural laws that come with that, you know, and those principles. And the other thing that you said, value, was the word, you know, value. So your core values are in the commitment. They come in with the commitment, and basically you know, work within your space, and just have these decisions that you make ahead of time. And then if something weeble wobbles, and then, you know, let's kind of be kind, you know, and considerate with our words. Our tone matters, all those things, because I know I've heard you talk about that too. You know, our tone does matter, and our body transmit and receives concurrent at the same time. So we can, without thinking, our body picks up a space that feels safe, an environment that feels loving, you know, and all those things matter, especially like we're talking about bringing kids into the home, but it can be felt even through the screen, you know, through your voice, just through your eye contact and all those things. And so, but you know, you guys are true blue, and couples who really want to understand what it takes to work this beautiful magic and you know, and stay together, because this can bring you closer, right? This can really bring you closer, and it can pull you apart. It depends, right? It depends on what it is that you're wanting to say yes to. And
Absolutely.
you are just a really beautiful example of what's possible, and you're being who you are, and learning the ins and outs of entrepreneurship and marketing. You know, all that stuff is part of the stuff, and it continues to always like be, you know, challenging, inherently challenging.
You're right, Deb. It is challenging, and JoJo and I have worked over the last 12 years to have what we have, because we worked for it. And she said the word magic. And a marriage can be very magical.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want your marriage to be magical, I'll tell you how. Message us on our website at our family strong,
The letter R. The letter R.
familystrong.best to schedule a free call, and we will figure out where you are in your relationship and what you can do to find that magic that Deb talked about. It's not a magic unicorn, but it's a magic that is palpable, that can be in your home, that can bring peace and restore that peace in your home. But as an entrepreneur and a business coach, or a coach for married entrepreneurs, we can show you how to put those pieces in order to find that magic. Jojo, how else can they reach us?
You're so funny. We have a few books too, Deb. We didn't mention
Okay.
that. We don't usually mention it, but we made them for our kids. Well, we have parenting books, and then we also have marriage communication journal that Cory has created, and it's been quite helpful for lots of couples and us to actually go through and to write to each other. Every day has a different topic and a different thing that you can talk to each other about or write to each other about. And it's just to strengthen communication. And then we also have a book that's for married entrepreneurs, and it's kind of how to talk to your spouse and how to get on the same page with your spouse and how to it's just simple. It's a guide. We actually created it as a guide because we know entrepreneurs are busy and they aren't going to read full books, so we made it a simple, short, I think it's like 60 pages guide to help you strengthen your marriage. But you can also find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group called Strong Business, Stronger Marriage. We have our podcast, Strong Business, Stronger Marriage. And I think that's the ways to contact us.
Yeah.
But
Facebook. And one last thing, we do have a children's book about feelings and about being our friend. And that, I had to throw that in there because our 7-year-old is the one that published and illustrated the majority of that book. And so that is who we are. If you want more stories, if you want to learn about foster care, if you want to learn how to strengthen your marriage, if you want to learn how to make a combination of it, find us. We will help you strengthen your marriage.
Absolutely.
And it is fabulous.
Absolutely. And I would recommend you to, and there's only good to come from being in relationship to you both. And and again, the premise of love and an allowance and acceptance says that we don't force anything. We don't have the absolute answers for anything, but the opportunity and potential, will with time reveal itself with your commitment, with your focus, right? With your care. And that's how it all works. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you both so very, very much.
No, thank you for having us.
We so appreciate you. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate you.
I would, we can revisit again as you are working with folks, and I just think anyone would be very fortunate and blessed to have you in their lives.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
Well, I mean it. I'm not a fluff stuff. I'm not that's not me. And
no,
it is, I speak from the heart, and it's important because it just feels, it aligns, right? I'm in service. I'm in service to be authentic, to help people elevate their lives, and being and surrounding myself with people doing the same, and having values that support that same mission and vision, it's important, so
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank
Blessing
you.
and happy anniversary. You
Thank
share with me,
you.
you just had 12 years this week, right? Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
that's wonderful. A
Thank you.
lifetime. I wish you a
A
lifetime.
lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I will see you guys again. And
Okay.
thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
No
And I'll put
problem.
your contact information, in the write-up that I do. So it'll be where people can find you. Okay.
Awesome.
So it'll be there. And
So appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we miss you. Let's get together, okay?
that'd be wonderful. Wonderful. All righty.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All
Talk
right.
to you
Have a
later.
good
And
one.
if you feel lonely, like message us. If you're feeling trapped, message us. Seriously.
Thank you. I know. You guys are so awesome. All right.
Thank you.